We are a relatively young company. We went public in June 2020. So, seven, 8 months since we went public. We have an interesting situation where in, I would say 2018, I reached out to Mag Silver and to Peter McGaugh, and I was looking for some advice. I was interested in putting together a silver company. And Peter mentioned to me that they had two assets that had been part of Mag Silver's initial IPO in 2003. There are two districts that Peter McGaugh had put together on the years prior to Mag Silver going public. And at the time, Mag Silver was still looking at a big sum of money to be raised for their main asset. They didn't have the funds or the manpower to move those projects forward. So I offered a deal where we put the assets into a new company, and we funded with about 13 million Canadian dollars. We went public as I said, in June 2020. We've acquired two additional projects. And as part of the deal with Mag is our shareholder, our largest shareholder, Mag Silver, and Peter McGaugh is our chief technical advisor. And we actually preserved the team that Mag Silver utilized basically from day one to explore the projects that we now have. We have strong institutional support. About 18% of the company is owned by management. I'm personally the largest shareholder in the company, and we're well aligned with investors. We still have about 11 million Canadian dollars in the bank. These are some of the institutional investors that are in our register. We've had a very strong volume since we went public, trading on average 500,000 shares at an average price of $1. Today we're trading at around $1.15 per share. We have 4 main projects, 3 of them in Mexico, 1 in Nevada. The philosophy of the company is looking for high grade and district scale, very much exploring some of the ideas that Peter McGaugh has been collecting over a number of years in Mexico. I mean, I think I really enjoy listening to the presentations from the other companies that are here. Really, just Mexico is such an amazing place to do exploration. You have a combination of geologically endowed with high-grade silver, and then it's just an incredible amount of mining done by the Spanish that serves as a wonderful footprint, to do exploration. So we have our flagship asset, Gigi, which is a CRD target, the Batopilas district, which we just released some very interesting results, La Reina project, and the Medicine Springs project, which is in Arizona. To just give you a little bit of where we sit in terms of our peers, as I think Michael was mentioning in his presentation, the silver equity segment it's quite small. There's not a lot of companies, and this is partly because for so many years now silver has been underfunded and underexplored. And actually in Mexico, while a lot of people are familiar with Mexican silver assets, the reality is that Mexico remains incredibly underexplored. And part of what we wanted to do with our company was take projects that we think have the potential for being large mines within Mexico, as I mentioned before, with district scale potential. To tell a little bit about our leadership team, our chairman of the board is Peter Jones. He's a former CEO of Hut Bay Minerals, and he brings a tremendous contribution to the board. We also have a group of geologists led by René Ramirez and Ariel Navarro. René Ramirez has been with Mag Silver from day one. I think he's participated in every single drill campaign that Mag Silver has ever done. He also did a lot of work for the Platosa, so especially for the high-grade discovery at Platosa. And then we have Ariel Navarro, who has been with Pan American Silver and a number of other exploration companies. Peter McGaw, I think many people are familiar with him. He's, of course, the co-founder of MAG Silver, has a number of discoveries to his name. And interestingly enough, this type of CRD, carbonate replacement deposit, is one that Peter has specialized on and created a geological model that a lot of people have used as a footprint for discoveries. And Doug Kerwin is also in our advisory board. Many of you might be familiar with him. He was the former VP of exploration for Ivanhoe Mines. He also has multiple world-class discoveries, including perhaps most famously the Hugo Dumet ore body that's part of Oyu Tolgoi in Mongolia. Doug was one of our initial investors, and appreciate greatly his technical contribution. Let me tell you a little bit about our flagship asset, Gigi. Gigi sits at the heart of one of, I think, actually the largest CRD system in Mexico. It's a system that has produced 500 million ounces of silver, where the average grade of the silver was 310 grams per ton silver with 15% lead zinc combined. Just very, very high tonnage and very high grade. And what's interesting about this whole system, and many of you will have seen this geological model in other presentations, is that typically the CRD has two main components. One of them is this area here, which is a system of chimneys and mantos. And in the case of this district, that 500 million ounces of silver that I described to you has entirely come from two mines to our east and west that are purely the chimney part of the system. And MAG Silver was able to determine that those chimneys extend into the property that we now hold. And we started in December a 10,000 meter drill campaign. And we're looking for the extensions that, as I mentioned, MAG Silver already drilled and proved that the continuation from the San Antonio mine into the Gigi area. And what's never been found is the skarn of the whole system. And typically in these kind of systems in Mexico and other CRD systems in Arizona and Nevada, for example, if the chimney portion of the system holds 500 million ounces of silver, the skarn oftentimes is as big, if not bigger. So we're looking for a big target. And as I mentioned, we are doing 10,000 meters of drilling. We started drilling in December, took a little break for Christmas, and we've drilled, I would say, close to 2,000 meters out of 10,000. We have a second project that also came from MAG Silver. This is a fascinating project. It's a project called Batopilas. Some of you might be familiar with this project. It's a very famous mine in Mexico. It was the mine in Mexico that historically produced the highest grade silver. And as far as we know, perhaps one of the highest grade silver mines to have ever been in production in Mexico. It was producing until 1912. It shut down because of the Mexican Revolution. It has a pretty fascinating history with an American entrepreneur put the mine into production. And during the Mexican Revolution, they shut down the mine. And what happened was in the mid-90s, when NAFTA was signed and American and Canadian companies came back to Mexico, Peter McGaw and a group of partners staked the old mine, which is this tunnel that you see here in the picture. And that hosts the majority of the 350 million ounces of silver that were produced at an average grade of 1.5 kilos per ton. And what's really interesting about the district is that, the Americans were only able to mine what you see here in the green. I think about 2 kilometers out of about 5 kilometers that are mineralized. There's about 30 known veins in the district. and very few of them have been explored with modern day exploration methods. We just finished a 2-month sampling and mapping campaign. The objective of this campaign was to follow up on the drilling that Max Silver did. Max Silver did a little bit of drilling, I think something like 5,000 meters of drilling, focused mostly on areas around the old mine, but nobody had ever looked and stepped a little bit further into the district. So what we did was a number of trenching and sampling, following with some veins that were outcropping. And as a result of that, we had about 280 samples that we took. Some of the highlights, we had samples that gave us 42,000 grams per ton silver, a number of 20,000, 10,000 grams per ton silver, maybe 5 or 6 that had above 1,000 grams per ton silver. And then very interestingly, we found extensions to some of the known veins. We found 2 new veins. And then we found, for the first time in the property, high-grade gold. This is something that took our technical team by surprise. To our knowledge, there's never been gold found in the property, and it was high-grade as well. It's a vein that was uncovered close to surface through trenching. And we had a lot of high-grade results, the highest one being about 21.4 grams per ton. What this exploration campaign, we finished it in mid-December. The labs came back maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but then we've been continuing the trenching and mapping. And what we're going to do is start permitting some of these areas, and as soon as we get our drill permits in a couple of months to start drilling. But we're very pleased with the exploration here. We've this very exciting project, as I said, 30 known veins in the district, and the vast majority of those have never been explored. Then we have another great project called La Reina. It's very close to our flagship asset, Gigi. It's an epithermal vein, very close to a mine called Cusi that's operated by Sierra Metals. And here, it's another of those great Mexican silver districts. It produced about 100 million ounces of silver, similar vintage, late 1800s, shut down with the Mexican Revolution. And you can see that in the picture here, it's a vein that's about 6 meters long. The Spanish mined at about surface, and then at about 50 to 100 meters, they couldn't go any deeper. It's a strike that goes for about 4 kilometers. It appears the 4 kilometers are mineralized. What we're doing at the moment is we did a small sampling campaign. We're now getting a more extensive access agreement with the local community. I think we'll have that ready in a couple of weeks, and then we're going to do a sampling and mapping campaign. We already have some good ideas for our drill targets, and we do want to drill this project as well in 2021. And then finally, we have another great project that we acquired, I think in October. It's called the Medicine Springs Project. It's in Nevada. It became very attractive to us. We were able to option it. It's a CRD target that's geologically identical to our Gigi asset, sort of in the same family of assets as the Taylor deposit in Arizona. It has all the showings at surface that you look for in a CRD type of project. It's in the Carlin district, and it had been drilling, looking for open pit gold, doing RC, and they did hit high-grade silver almost from surface to about 100 meters. As you know, RC doesn't recover the full, the full grade of the core. So our plan here is this property does have permits for about 5,000 meters. So we're gonna drill with diamond, go to about maybe 200 or 300 meters, and then there's also an area that has the skarn showings at surface, so we're going to inspect that area as well. We're just in the process of finalizing our exploration program, but I have submitted a budget to our board, and we would like to drill this project this year as well. So the catalyst for the company, and first and foremost, the 10,000 meter drill campaign we're doing at Gigi. You know, we should finish that by the end of April or March. You know, we have been lucky that we haven't faced any significant delays from COVID, but all of you know, Mexico is certainly experiencing a tough situation in terms of COVID. Thankfully, you know, we've been able to operate normally. So as long as we can keep this going, we should finish by the end of March. We will get our drill targets ready at Batopilas and drill it, you know, within Q2 of 2021. Same thing for La Reina. We would like to generate our drill targets, and the same at Medicine Springs. So, you know, but we will be. My intention and my purpose is that we can drill all 4 projects during this year. At Batopilas, 10,000 meters initially, but we have actually enough money to do another 10,000 meters later in the year. As I mentioned, we have close to 12 million Canadian dollars in the bank. So, you know, it's an exciting time. We're very pleased with the portfolio of assets that we have, and yeah, that's basically it. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is on here on the presentation, and always very happy to talk to anybody, and also to offer. There's a fantastic book that was written about our project Batopilas. It's called the Silver Magnet. And you cannot buy it on Amazon but we do have some copies in Mexico that we found at a local bookstore. And it's just an incredibly well-written account of the Batopilas mine, how it was put together in the the late 1800s, and just gives you a wonderful perspective of why Mexico is such an incredible place to explore. You know, very similar to some of the other companies I presented today. Just such a wonderful place to do exploration. And if anybody was interested in a copy, as long as it's not a massive amount of people who write, we should have enough copies to send you one. So feel free to send me an email.